Super Idol 的笑容都没你的甜，8月9
What is the best mage spec in Mythic Plus? In News Alert, it's fucking Frost. But there are two other specs. You've got Fire and Arcane, both of which are really fun. And I've been playing a little bit of off meta recently because the game is quite literally dead. So here we have a side-by-side comparison of both Fire and Arcane in a plus 22 Necrotic Wake, doing what they do best. Big dam, big crits, big cooldowns. Thanks for watching. Let's check it out. Okay, so top is Fire Mage, bottom is Arcane. Both are going to pot, trinket, and use every cooldown available to them for this first pack in Necrotic Wake. So you see Arcane Mage is building up his Harmony stacks. Fire is proccing its Legendary, and now they're both mid-ramp. Watch out in the bottom screen for when the touch of the Magi explodes, and there'll be a huge peak in damage for the Arcane Mage. Should be coming up now. There it is. Peaked at about 50k. I can tell you from experience, this Fire Mage, the top screen's probably doing anywhere between 55 to 65k. But it drops off a lot, you know, at this part of the pool, when you're just scorching, it's starting to drop back down. I think I finished this pool around 35k, which is very similar to Arcane. Next pool, single target. Generally, I'd say that Arcane's got the advantage here if it can crit. If not, it's very similar in damage. You know, you'll see Fire bursting at about 20k upwards, and Arcane can do the same if it crits. If it doesn't, like you just saw, I mean, it's still a solid 12. And you remember that this is a carry-on from some other smaller trash. So Arcane doesn't have AP here, so this is a bit of a comparison between Arcane versus Fire, with Arcane not having AP. Still does very considerable AoE, as you can see. Touch of the Magi just exploded. Fire is just blasting with combustion. So big AoE pool for both specs here. Fire doesn't have combustion. Arcane has Arcane Power, which it goes ahead and uses. You can see Fire can still do considerable damage with its Legendary and Shifting Power. Arcane doesn't really work out that well for him. The targets get spread from his touch, doesn't get a full ramp. But you can see Fire still does well. It's got combustion back. It knows it's going into a single target pool, which is next. So you've got that at least. Next pool's pure single target. I think Arcane gets hit by an explosive on this one, or Volcano rather. So it doesn't finish its full ramp. But you can see Fire's off to a very quick start, peaking at around 20k. So Arcane's going now. There it is. There's the Volcanic I was talking about. There's no crits from the looks of it. So Fire, you know, doesn't have to deal with any of that stuff. Arcane does. Second boss in Necrotic Wake, I'd actually give Arcane the benefit of this. The ads, they come out at the perfect time for touch. So you've almost got touch every single time. Fire obviously blasts, but Arcane just is able to do so much more because you can just funnel onto the boss and the Magi just explodes and cleaves all these ads every 45 seconds, which is insane. I never thought Arcane would be better at this boss, but in my opinion, I think it is. You can see the difference in damage. You know, look how much Arcane's doing compared to Fire. So you've got some more ads coming out now on both screens. So Fire sort of struggles here. This is when Fire's like, oh fuck, I can't really deal with the ads. Whereas the Arcane Mage just goes ahead and evocates into Spark, into Magi, and we're able to bang again compared to Fire. So we Barrage, Orb, Barrage, and you're able to cleave, right? That touch comes down, cleaves a ton of them. I give Arcane the edge on this fight for sure. Especially on Tyrannical too. But at the end of the fight, the overall damage from both Fire and Arcane is very similar. I mean, you saw Arcane start with Lust, Fire didn't. Fire's getting Lust now, right? You can see the damage is very similar. Okay, so we got more ads coming out. Fire just blew combustion. You've got Arcane with Touch of the Magi, Kyrian Spark, and Arcane Power. I think the Warrior dies here in the bottom screen. Crits for 116k. I mean, It's so much fun to hit that hard. No, I don't think there's another spec in the game that hits quite as hard as Arcane. But now, you know, you get on the fire screen, you've got a huge strength to fire in that it has a very strong execute. Arcane doesn't have such strengths. And there you go. The overall's finished somewhere around that for Arcane, but we'll skip, we'll move along. Next pack. 2-target cleave. It was hard to get any real footage of these guys matching up cooldowns for the pulls because it just didn't happen. But here's a good example of a touch ramp without AP versus combustion. Combustion obviously just is blasting. But you know, Fire's holding its, Arcane's holding its own. You know, it's not bad damage, is it? It's not quite combustion damage. So here we go. Same pack. This is an AP pull versus a combustion pull. Combustion's a little late. AP has started now. You're going to see a huge touch of the Magi on the bottom screen. There we go. Not sure if it crit or not, but you can see the damage. It's really high. Up in that 30,000 mark. And the Fire Mage is just able to get a combustion off but towards the end. But when you've got a Monk, you see the difference in Monks here. You know, one's got cooldowns and one doesn't. The pack just melts in the top screen. Continues to drag on in the bottom screen. First boss, we've got Lust for the Arcane Mage. No Lust for the Fire Mage. This is a touch ramp for the Mage. No combustion yet for Fire. This could be a particularly annoying fight for Mage in general because you get pulled down. So both of the specs get pulled down. I give this particular mechanic of the fight the edge to Fire. You got really good movement, and you know you've got the whole heating up hot streak mechanic to get a lot of damage in on these ads. Arcane's not bad. Frost is fucking awful, especially on the higher tyrannical keys. I hate this boss as Frost because this guy is actually hard to kill as Frost, like straight up. And then we get pulled up. Another example of like how you can get asked as Arcane here for movement. You'll see in a second. I think I only fit in two blasts and a barrage into my ramp because I had to move, right? And here it is. So I don't have blink. So I'm fucked. We've got combustion up top. Fire doesn't care about that. It just goes regardless. We almost die with the Arcane Mage. So maybe Slipstream was a better choice for Arcane here. Fire doesn't matter and the boss dies now. And there you go. So that's a side-by-side of the both specs. You can have a look at the overalls there. And then you be the decider. I personally love both specs, but your pick.